Going on, everybody? This is your boy, the Scripture Plug.Albert, again coming in with an amazing live reaction. Live reaction. Because apparently this brother right here, Thaddeus, this came out a couple years ago. But we're just getting to it. We're just getting to it today because he made some claims and I seen it. I was scrolling through Brother Reason Answers videos, and this was like one of his most viewed. So we're about to get into it. This brother is apparently saying that there's 100 reasons, y'all. 100 reasons why you shouldn't be a Muslim, or well, excuse me, why Islam is false. Therefore, you shouldn't be Muslim because Islam is false. But we're about to get into it. There can't be no way that there's 100 reasons, right? Can't be. Mm-mm. No, 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 no. But this brother says there is. We're about to get into it. As we go through the video, I'm going to stop it on certain parts that I find interesting or I just want to look into, because I don't want to just have this brother have some claims and us on this end not look into it. Whether it be the Quran or the Hadith, we're going to do what we can to make sure that what he's talking about is actually one of the 100 ways and actually a reason why Islam is false. So without further ado, we're about to get into it. We're about to enjoy it. Shout out to this brother, Reason Answered, and we're about to see if he's really honest or not. Because sometimes they say Christians like to be deceivers and whatnot, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's get into it. Let's enjoy. Pen, paper, popcorn. Don't forget, because we got to get this learning in.
A Muslim recently asked me if I could provide one reason why Islam is false. No, I'm afraid I can't do that.
What?
It would be far too hard to limit myself to just one.
No, that's right. Let him know. And he's going to be in Ohio at the Apologetic Conference next week or this week.
Welcome back to Reasoned Answers. I normally focus on in-depth answers to theological questions. But today, I have a milestone to celebrate. I recently released my 100th video, and to celebrate, I'm going to list 100 reasons why I believe Islam is false.
That's a great celebration right there.
Obviously, with 100 reasons to get through, I can't spend much time on each, lest we be here all night. But I will put the references on the screen and encourage you to verify the Islamic texts actually say what I claim.
Oh, see,
This
look,
isn't
he
a
wants us to see
countdown,
it.
but I've grouped things thematically, with the most devastating category coming last. So things will get meatier as we go.
Ooh.
And yes, even with 100 spots to fill, I did have to leave a lot of good stuff off the list.
Hold
With
on.
all that out of the way,
Hold on, wait now. Hold on. So wait. He got 100 on the list already. He got 100 ready to go, but he had to leave some off. So wait a second. That means there got to be more than 100 ways. Now I wonder how many ways there are. That's kind of like back in the day when Hatun Tash and Dr. J. Smith went to Speaker's Corner and they had all the Arabic Qurans and there was like 26 of them. But now we find out there's like 30 some. There's like 30 something, y'all. So this is like what this is. Hopefully, I wonder. I don't think he made a part two. He probably could make a part two with 200 reasons why outside of these 100. But anyway, let's get into it. We ain't even start yet. But that's just crazy that he said that he has 100, but yet he still had to leave some off. That means there's a lot of issues. A lot of issues. But hey, Allah knows best.
let's jump in. First up are self-serving revelation and special privileges. A prophet receiving a revelation that benefits only him is a hallmark of cults. Sure, it doesn't prove revelation false, strictly speaking, but it sure is a big red flag. And Muhammad raised so many red flags, you'd think you were at a communist rally. The Quran, the book which claims to be guidance for all people in all ages, contains the utterly useless command to not overstay your welcome at Muhammad's dinner party because he's too shy to tell you himself. But thankfully, Allah isn't shy like that.
All right.
After
Starting off
Muhammad got
strong.
caught having sex with his slave girl, despite having numerous wives whom he supposedly visited all in the same night, he made a promise to his angry wives that he would stop. That is until Allah rebuked him for making the oath.
Hold on.
Muslim men are limited to 4.
Hold on. So, whoops. Let me get back up in here. So Allah was like, you told your wives you're not gonna do this no more. You told them. You said, no, I ain't gonna do it no more. I'm gonna be faithful to you 11 or however many were at the time. I don't know. I'm just throwing a number out there. So he said, I'm gonna be faithful to y'all. I ain't gonna sleep with no more slave girls. Mm-mm. And then Allah was like, bruh, did I command you not to sleep with more? I know I told, the rest of my followers that they can have about four, but I told you you can have more and then some. You can have about 11. And then you can have more women too. Don't make no oaths. What? If I didn't tell you to make an oath, don't make no oath. Can what? No, so the God of Islam was like, you know what, Muhammad? You know what? You need to believe in me more. You need to believe that I got more for you. I got abundance for you. You can sleep with all the slave girls you want to. All of them. Every last one of them. Remember that DMX song back in the day? What these people want from her? You know what I'm saying? Muhammad was like, well, I need Brenda, Letitia. He was calling all of them. He said, I need all of them. And just, after the oath, then Muhammad was like, well, nah, Allah told me it's different. Allah said I can do what I want to. And then his wife was like, bruh, Allah, again, what you do? You call him, you page him. Remember back in the day they had to chirp? You chirped him? Man, Allah just do whatever he just bends his knee for Muhammad. It seems like at every trip, every time he just bends his knee. That's
Four
crazy, y'all.
wives. But not Muhammad. He gets as many as he wants, thanks to a special decree of Allah. Speaking of Muhammad's wives, when two of them shared his secrets with each other, Allah revealed a threat, saying they could be replaced in his eternal word. And then there's Muhammad's wife Sada. When she grew old, she feared Muhammad would divorce her, so she cut a deal, allowing Muhammad to spend more time with Aisha. Allah endorsed the deal by sending down Surah 4, 128. And just to be sure everyone knew it was okay, Allah added 33:51 as well.
Man, just adding whatever they
And
want
who
to.
could
All right.
forget Zainab, the beautiful wife of Muhammad's adopted son? Or should I say ex-wife? After Muhammad saw her scantily clothed, he desired her. Zainab's husband Zayd offered to divorce her, but Muhammad said no. Then mysteriously Allah corrected him with the bizarre excuse that this was done to solve the non-existent problem of people wondering if it was lawful to marry their adopted sons' ex-wives. You might be getting the impression that it was all about women for Muhammad, and you wouldn't be alone in thinking that. Multiple hadith claim Muhammad loved women and perfume above all else, while at least one adds food as well. I don't know about you, but that sure sounds more like a hedonist than a prophet to me. Which brings us to our next category, the gross immorality of Muhammad. While immorality doesn't necessarily invalidate a claim to prophethood, it certainly invalidates the Islamic belief that Muhammad is the perfect example for
Facts.
all humanity to follow. Let's look at a few examples.
Before he breaks these down, this is one of the things that I just love when I see people on, these Muslims go on these Christian channels that are talking about Muhammad's morality and things of that nature. It's almost like to a man, you would say something that Muhammad did, excluding Muhammad. You say, you ask questions like, "Oh, would you marry, underage girl? Would you uh, beat your wife? Would you do all these particular things, till they turn green? All this other stuff." Not saying that Muhammad did that, but so you would say all these things that Islam allows and promotes. And then to a man and or woman, they'll say, no, 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 no. But then once you throw Muhammad's name in there, once you put his name in there and say, oh, but he did this, and then you show them the proof, well, first they'd be like, no, he'd never do that, especially if they don't know the hadiths. Like, nah, he'd never, never, ever, ever. He's the most moral, he's the most perfect, yada, yada, yada. And then you show them hadith and they're like, well, one of two things. They're either like, ah, man, we don't even rock with them hadiths like that. That Sayyid al-Bukhari, nah, fam, we can't roll with that. Mm-mm. No, we can't, it could be Daif. It probably ain't Sahih. You show them Sahih. And, well, nah. Or they'd be like, well, Allah knows best. You know what I'm saying? It's the prophet. So, and what another thing they love to go to is, well, that was what they did at the time. That's what they did at the time. That was the cultural relevance. Well, if he's the most moral, it shouldn't matter what time frame that he's doing whatever he's doing in. It should stand the test of time. So if you ain't gonna do it now, hey, you shouldn't have did it then. But yet, throw Muhammad's name on it. Be like, run it. And be like, oh, it's cool. Be like 6? Oh, that's fine. That's perfect. Because they were more mature back then. They matured at like, what I'm saying, 5, 6 all the time because they had to, fight in wars. Even though she was playing with dolls and whatnot. She was playing with dolls. 6 years old, all that fun stuff, but mature enough to get married and, molested by a 50-year-old or however old he was, man. But, hey, Allah knows best. Allah knows best. Muhammad's the most moral somehow, some way. But y'all won't do what he does today. That's crazy.
After Muhammad and his small band of followers moved to Medina in 622, they faced a problem. Where were they going to get income from? Muhammad's solution? Raiding
Wow.
unarmed trade caravans and taking their stuff.
Rinse due. Rinse due.
The plan proved successful, and Muhammad used the same basic model to spread Islam, promising war booty or ghanima in exchange for fighting. War booty wasn't the only way Muhammad kept people in Islam, however, as he was not above bribery.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
And speaking of greed, a man named Kiana knew where a certain treasure was hidden. Muhammad wanted it, so he gave the order, torture him until you extract what he has. A fire was lit on Kiana's chest, and eventually he was killed.
Mm.
Sadly, Muhammad never did learn where that treasure was.
He tried, though. He tried.
War booty wasn't the only thing Muhammad's soldiers got. When his men were apart from their wives and feeling horny, Muhammad said, "Don't worry, you can have sex with all the captive women you want."
Or just whoever, huh? All right.
Alternatively, soldiers were given the option of doing muta, that is, paying a woman for a brief marriage, or what anyone else would call prostitution.
Now, I do got a question, though. I do got a question because if I'm not mistaken, whether I'm wrong or right, hey, just let your boy know in the comments. When it comes to Muta, isn't that like more of a Shia thing? Like, don't the Shias really rock with Muta? The reason I say that is because a lot of times, when I watch Sam Shamoon, he'll say, Shia does Muta with your mom. But he always talks about the Shias. So let me know in the comments, is that more of a Shia thing or is that just anybody can get a thing? Is that Shia, Ahmadi, uh, Sunni? Do they all do that? Let me know in the comments because that's something I haven't really, cared too much to know about. But now that I'm watching the video, I'd like to know. I would like to know.
But wait, didn't Muhammad elevate the status of women? Nah, apparently not. A woman was beat by her husband until her skin turned green,
Hold on.
which caused Aisha.
Hold on. He can't be true. Sahih Bukhari 5 or 58:25. Let's see if that's true, man. Let's see if that's true. Because we can't just be out here. I didn't check any of these yet, but this is one that, I got to check. I got to check this, even though I also had a live stream not too long ago where, what I'm saying, we looked at all these hadiths. But hey, just to make sure, because we want to see the people who didn't see that live stream, that this is the case. That this is the case. So we're going to bring on up, and we're about to see y'all. We're about to see Became the Hawk. That's hilarious. Uh, but we're about to see if he's really talking about what he's talking about. Because ain't no way they would allow somebody to be beat. No woman would ever just be allowed to get beat. You know what I'm saying? Never. Wouldn't it be the thing? Wouldn't it be the thing? All right, but here we go. We're about to read, y'all. We're about to read. This is Sahih al Bukhari. Hopefully this is the right one. Yeah, 58:28 or 58:25, and I believe he was on 58:25. Let's see. Let's read down and see this. All right, let's see. Rifa divorced his wife, whereupon Abu Rahman bin Az-Zubair al-Khwizari, my bad for all my Arabic speakers out there when I butcher these names, my fault, married her. Aisha said that the lady came wearing a green veil and complained to her, Aisha, her husband, and showed her a green spot on her skin caused by beating. Dang, you know how bad you gotta be beat to turn into a rusty penny? You know those pennies that you get that you find like in the cushion or like you find on the road somewhere that got ran over and they got like that green tint to it? You know how bad you gotta be beat to, especially if you're dark skinned. If you're dark skinned, I don't know if they were dark skinned or light skinned back then, but you know what I'm saying? If you just, you got to really dig in with the knuckles to get that type of bruising. You got to. I don't know if any of that is true. I'm just talking right now, y'all. Don't mind me. Uh, it was the habit of ladies to support each other. So when Allah's apostle came, Aisha said, I have never seen any woman suffering as much as the believing woman. Dang. So she said, my people, my sisters, and Allah, we suffering out here. We getting beat. We getting stomped out. Y'all see like back in the day, Austin 316, where he stomped a mud hole in people in the corner, to stop them out this get it all the time. She got beat up. She got beat up, and Aisha knows it because it has to be more than one too. Because if it's just old girl, it'd be alright. But she said, "I've never seen anybody face more scrutiny than the believing woman." That's plural. That's many of them. Anyway, look, her skin is greener than her clothes. Dang. Yep. See, my brother said he turned into the Incredible Hulk. Turned into the Incredible Hulk because she turned green. Got beat up so bad she turned green, y'all. She got bruises all over. Look at her. Her skin is greener than her clothes, and she, do the exclamation point on it too. When Abu Rahman heard that his wife had gone to the prophet, he came with two sons from another wife. Probably paid him. She said, "By Allah, I have done no wrong to him, but he is impotent, and he is useless to me as." Ooh, man. Yeah, I remember this one too. I remember this one. She said, "He ain't no good." He said, or excuse me, she said that he's cooking with a wet noodle. The bullets is blank. He ain't nothing's out there. Just what he used to be, he ain't the same no more. He is not the same no more. He done got old. Back then they ain't had no blue chew. They didn't have the blue chew back then. They didn't have dang, what's the other stuff? Dang, what is it? I don't know. Starts with the dang, whatever. Well, they ain't got the blue chew no more. Or they didn't have the blue chew back then. So he wasn't able to do what he had to do. He wasn't able to stand strong, stand at attention. Uh she said, "By Allah, I have done no wrong to him, but he is impotent and is as useless to me as this." Holding the holding and showing the fringe of her garment. Abdul Rahman said, "By Allah, O Allah's apostle, she had told a lie. I'm very strong and can satisfy her, but she is disobedient and wants to go back to Rifa or whatever that name is. Refaya. I don't know." See, he's trying to hold. He's like, "Hey, yo, that ain't me. She ain't talking about me. I'm strong out here." Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nah, then you gonna beat her? So you gonna beat her. If it wasn't true, what you beat her for? What you put your hands on her for? That wasn't true? You gonna go give her 2 piece and a biscuit with a fry? Come on now. Why you give a biscuit and a fry? That don't come on. We know what it is. We know what it is. If that is your intention, then know that it's unlawful for you to remarry Rafaya, unless Abdul Rahman has had sexual intercourse with you. Then the Prophet saw 2 boys with Abu Rahman and asked him, "Are these your sons?" On that, Abdul, whatever his name is, Rahman said, "Yes." The Prophet said, "You claim what you claim, i.e., that he's impotent. But Allah, these boys resemble him as a crow resembles a cow." Okay, how old were they? Were they 7, 7 and 8? He could have been done shooting blank. He should have been shooting blanks a long time ago. But nah, he didn't care nothing about that. He said, "You know what? Because them boys look like him, depending on how old they are, you can't be telling the truth, even if it's 7 years or whatnot." Crazy, y'all. Crazy. But let's get back into it. So Thaddeus wasn't
Muhammad's
lying.
child bride, to remark, "I have not seen any woman suffering as much as the believing woman." Muhammad's response, "She deserved it for
Mm,
speaking ill of her husband."
mm, mm, mm.
He also claimed women were deficient in religion and intelligence,
Heck yeah,
by the
half
way.
brains.
When a follower killed a woman in front of her child for making fun of Muhammad, he declared that nothing wrong had occurred.
What?
Which is hardly surprising, since Muhammad ordered the execution of a 100-year-old poet who mocked him, a slave girl who wrote satirical songs about him, and many other critics.
Man, how soft you gotta be though? Real quick, how soft you gotta be? You gotta kill somebody who's 100 years old. That man's about to die anyway. He's close. The upper room is calling him. And he said, "You know what? No, I'm gonna kill him because, he's gonna write a poem about me because he wrote some bars about me." Was that the first rap battle? Did he come up out with some bars and say, "Hey yo, Muhammad, he's slow," something like that? And then, oh, he said that, boom, gotta kill him. All these different posts. And then the first thing that he brought up when it comes to him being too shy, to kick guests out. Like, bruh, you this murderous dude for real, but yet you can't when it comes to your people, you shy. he has a range of emotions that's kind of weird. He has the like when I hear about the things in the hadiths and also different things that are written about Muhammad, he's like a 50-year-old kid for real. Like he has the same maturity, it seems like anyway, of like a 12-year-old or 9-year-old. From everything I read anyway, that's what it seems like. That's what it seems like, a spoiled little brat. That's what he seemed like for real, for real. That's crazy, and that's the prophet they followed of.
Speaking of slaves, Muhammad bought, sold, and traded slaves, including black Africans, incidentally, as a form of currency.
Yes, Viagra. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. Yes, they ain't had that back then, so the man was out there with the short stick. He was out there, couldn't do what he had to do. Thank you for that. That was a good assist. I wish I actually would have seen that though when I was when I was reading before.
Muhammad even rebuked a man who freed 6 slaves at the time of his death and forced 4 of them back into slavery. And no discussion of Muhammad's immoral actions is complete without mentioning his favorite, wife. At the ripe young age of
Mm.
50, Muhammad married the 6-year-old Aisha. But don't worry, he waited until she was 9 to rape her. Yes, rape. A 9-year-old cannot
Dang,
possibly give informed consent for sex.
dang, hold on, y'all. Hold the phone. Time out. That's one, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8. Well, I'm assuming that these ones kind of go together. Uh, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh my gosh, there's this many different verses that talk about the ridiculousness of Aisha and her age and just being with the sicko that Muhammad is. Mm, mm. But yet again, she was older back then. She was 6. She was mature. She was able to play with dolls and play with Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? She was alert. She was able to scrape stuff off his clothes because, that's what he liked. That's what he just liked to do. Like just have semen everywhere, just everywhere. So she would just scrape it off and all that fun stuff. She was a writer for real. She was a writer for real. But that's probably what happens when you get groomed. Yeah, I think that's what happens when you get groomed. You kind of develop those mindsets. But hey, it's unfortunate. But we all know. We all know. We've all seen the hadiths. We all read the hadiths about Aisha being 6. By the way, narrated by her. And let us know that she was 6 and 9. But then there's so many people nowadays that trying to say, "Oh, she was 18. Oh, she was 15," or whatever the case. Nah, she says she was 8, or excuse me, 6 and then 9. That's what she said. So if you're gonna call her a liar, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Taking a step up, we go from immoral action
Probably not. He like to get into some crazy parties, man. Crazy parties. It's probably some other folks. But he was the OG of a lot for real. He was the OG of a lot. We wouldn't have Diddy, we wouldn't have Epstein, we wouldn't have, any of these predators without Muhammad. I think that's where it all stemmed from. Muhammad just came out. It was like, man, this is what we do, and he was able to build a massive, religion from it. So, OG when it comes to being trifling and being sick. So, when it comes to parties, when it comes to, uh, uh, when he was bewitched, if I'm not mistaken, he went to go mess with trees and stuff. There's something about some she camels too, and he has some fixation with menstruation blood and some other stuff. Crazy, crazy stuff that was going on with his brother Muhammad back in the day. The type of stuff that it is just is ungodly. But the Muslims would be like, nah, that's Allah knows best. If you want to snort dog feces, water, and period blood and dead bodies, go right ahead, because water can't be polluted at all. So you know that's what they do. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
of Muhammad to immoral actions of his sock puppet god. As we've seen, Allah has space in his eternal word for Muhammad's dinner parties and commands for him to marry the ex-wife of his adopted son. But do you
Yeah,
know
he
what
did.
Allah didn't have space for? Any condemnation of rape. In fact, he encouraged it, giving men permission to have sex with the women their right hand possesses. That is, war captives and slaves, in addition to their 4 wives.
Hold on, let's go back. I want to see which one. I keep forgetting. Is it 30? Which one is it? I want to go read the one. I think it's 424. Yep. Let's go read 424 real quick because this is the one that people love to talk about. They love to say that, oh man, it's not really saying that you can sleep with people that are married or stuff like, or it's not committing adultery or whatnot. But let's go ahead and just read this real quick. What is it? 424. That's what I think it is. 424. We gonna get up in there. We gonna get up in there. 424. 424. 424. Also, forbidden are married women except female captives in your possession. This is Allah's commandment to you. Lawful to you are all beyond these, as long as you seek them with your wealth in a legal marriage, not in fornication. Give those you have consummated marriage with their due dowries. It is permissible to be mutually gracious regarding the set dowry. Surely Allah is all knowing and all wise. So yep, nope, nope, yep. Except so you can still sleep with married women and you can still commit adultery. But, if they're captured, it's all right. It's all right because some would say, some would say you about to, you about to, kill them off anyway. So, some would say, actually, let's see some other translations because let's see, because I know they got more of them. Uh, which one do we want to see? We want to see Sahih because the Muslims love Sahih International, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, we can go with that one, which is the one. Let's see, because they like that one for whatever reason. And also prohibited to you are all married women except those who your right hand possesses. So yeah, they're all of them. If you got them, though, you got them. You done beat up their husband. You done potentially killed them. Even probably not have killed them because they probably could just be under slavery or whatever the case. But Allah says you can sleep with these married women. That's all right. That's all right. That's okay. Man, it must be good to be. Nah, never mind. I ain't gonna front. No, it's not at all. No, it's not at
Done.
all. It's
But do you
sick.
know what Allah didn't have space for? Any condemnation of rape. In fact, he encouraged it, giving men permission to have sex with the women their right hand possesses. That is, war captives and slaves, in addition to their 4 wives.
Mm.
But should we really be surprised? After all, Allah describes women as fields for their husbands to plow.
Hey yo, brother John, that's hilarious. Somewhere Muslima is yelling at their screen saying Islam gave women their rights. Yeah, it gave women the rights to get beat down by a stick though. By a stick though, not like you can get not to the face. You know what I'm saying? You can get beat down with a stick, not to the face, and you can be turned green, but it's all right. It's okay if you make a bad claim or a judgment call, or if your husband even thinks, if he even thinks you being disobedient, you ain't even got to be, but you got the right to be beat. You got the right to be beat if that brother has a thought. That's crazy. That is crazy. You say, you know what? I got my rights, and my rights say if my husband thinks I'm doing wrong, he can go ahead on and slap the mess out of me. He can slap the fire from my thoughts. He could slap my thoughts in the next week so I know better not to ever even attempt to think about doing something disobedient. That's crazy. But that's Islam.
When and how they please. Likewise, Muslim men are given permission to beat their wives if they merely fear disobedience.
Well, hold on. Let's go ahead and look at that real quick. We got to look at that because, you know, I know I just talked about it, but let's go ahead and look at that. That was 434. Because, matter of fact, since we talking about 434, if you in here, go ahead on the 434, that like button, though. That's what you could do. Beat that mug till it turns green. Beat that mug. Oh my gosh, can I not type? There we go. 434. Hit that like button, y'all. Turn it green. It'll never turn green, but turn it green anyway. Men are the caretakers of whoops. Men are the caretakers of women, as men have been provisioned by Allah over women and tasked with supporting them financially. And righteous women are devoutly obedient and, when alone, protective of what Allah has entrusted them with. And if you sense ill conduct, if you sense it, if you got a sixth sense, know what I'm saying? If you see dead people, old boy from that movie, Sixth Sense, go ahead on and tear off a foot up in her. And if you sense ill conduct from your women, advise them first. If they persist, do not share their beds. Oh, this ain't the right one. I need to read the right one. But if they still persist, then discipline them gently. Discipline them gently. What you do is you take your hand and you curl that bad boy up real nice, like real tight. Because if it's loose, you might hurt yourself. And you just fight. No, I'm just playing. That's not what it says, but might as well. Uh, Surely Allah is the Most High. Where is the one? I don't want to read that one. I don't want to read the soft one. I want to read the real one. So righteous women are devoutly obedient, guarding in their husband's absence. Da, 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 da. But those wives whom you fear arrogance, yeah, there you go. You fear it. First advise them if they persist, forsake them in bed. Forsake them. Say no. Which they probably be like, finally, this slob is off me, and finally strike them gently, and finally strike them gently. But if they obey you once more, seek no means against them. Indeed, what if they don't though? Do you just keep beating them? Do you just keep beating them until submission? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. If you're a Muslim woman, like, have you ever just not like did your thoughts ever just not go to where he thought your thoughts was going? Like, what if you tell him that no, my thoughts ain't there anymore. I'm not being disobedient, but then he keeps beating you until you say that you've been disobedient. Then what? Is that a thing too? That's crazy. Allah knows best. There's no gently. Oh yeah, because what? Yeah, when we read the yeah, when it says lightly, you know what I'm saying? Because in the brackets, that ain't there. That ain't there. Oh man, I apologize, y'all. I was reading it, wasn't even on the screen, y'all. My fault. My fault. But yeah, see the brackets right there means it really ain't there. You know what I'm saying? They just had to add it. Good call, Marion. Good call. That's not there, y'all. They had to add it because they wanted y'all to know that we don't really want to. But then again, hear me out though. Hear me out. Let's say, let's say you're fighting uh Incredible Hulk, for example, since we already talked about, women being beat green. So you're fighting the Incredible Hulk. And technically, if he taps you pretty lightly, that'll probably still hurt. Might still break a couple bones because he's, cracking mountains. He's, splitting earths. So if he tapped you lightly, that's still pretty powerful. So like, men, nah, that doesn't make any sense. Nah. Either way, you got to be crazy to think that it's all right just to disobedient, or excuse me, discipline a woman just by, you know what? Let me hit her with this Mortal Kombat MK1 uppercut right off into the pits, right off into the pits, just bam, or hit her with the uppercut that turns all the inside just red. You know, mm. But that's Islam though. That's Islam though. Let's get back to the video.
And how old are those wives? The Quran gives no minimum age, but makes it clear that prepubescent marriage is permitted.
Hold on.
Unless there be.
Hold on. I know I ain't gonna stop it too much more after this, but that was another one I'm looking into. That's another one. He said 65. Ain't no way, because what they do is they love to say that it doesn't mean this. They say it doesn't mean this, but we gonna read Ibn Kathir though. We gonna read Ibn Kathir with it. So here we go. We got this pulled up, and it says in 65:4. Because again, he made the claim. We're just gonna check for the Muslims because they may not know. So we're just gonna check for them. And anybody who's thinking about going to Islam, that hey, the 100 reasons he's talking about, they have to be legit. If they're not legit, then there's no reason. So we gotta check some of them. We ain't gonna check all 100, but we're gonna check some of them. As for your women past the age of menstruation, in case you do not know, their waiting period is 3 months, and those who have not been, or excuse me, and those who have not menstruated as well. As for those who are pregnant, their waiting period ends with delivery, and whoever is mindful of Allah, He will make their matters easy for them. So hold on. So their waiting period is 3 months. So past the age, and those who have not menstruated. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. But let's see what Ibn talking about, because Ibn, you know what I'm saying, Ibn be on here. Ibn be talking. Allah the Exalted clarifies that waiting period for women in menopause, and that is the one whose menstruation has stopped due to her older age. Her iddah is 3 months of the 3 monthly cycles for those who menstruated, which is based upon the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah 22228. The same for the young who have not reached the years. So the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. So hold on, man, that's crazy. So what it is saying, for sure, Ibn Kathir, a scholar extraordinaire, the first tafsir that pops up when you go to. Also, it's not just Ibn Kathir, if I'm not mistaken, dang near all of them talk about this. Dang near all of them. We ain't gonna go through all of them, though, but dang near all of them talk about the young who have not reached. So again, when we connect the dots, y'all, when we connect the dots, we see that, yep, Aisha was 6 and 9, and their God, because this is the Quran we're reading now. This is the Quran we're reading now. And in the Quran, depending on who you talk to, they got a couple verses that say that in Surah 3:7, they say that some of the verses are clear, some of them are unclear. But the unclear verses, the scholars will be able to know. The scholars will be able to decipher for us. So for those who read this verse that may be unclear to them, I don't know if this is an unclear verse or not, but I'm saying if it's unclear to you, the brother Ibn Kathir breaks it down right here. The young who have not reached the years of menstruation. That means them babies. That means them babies ain't hit puberty, nothing. They are just that, just babies. So for those who were confused and say, this ain't, and this is again what Allah's commanding. Allah saying that's cool. Allah saying, hey yo, hey, if if she's born. And old boy that Mike Jones got really angry at when they debated because he said some crazy stuff. What's his name? What's his name? Peak Daniel that dude, whatever his name is. I don't remember his name. If you know his name, put it down in the comments. But basically he was talking about some crazy stuff like, hey, Allah commanded it. So really, I think in the debate too, he was saying something like something crazy, like technically even when you're born, this would apply, which is crazy because that's again, they believe that this is Muhammad's eternal word. Like they believe that what's said in the Quran is there for all eternity. And they talking about some babies. So technically to this day in Islamic culture, which I'm pretty sure there's still going on, people like to sweep it on the rug because we're over here in America. But if you actually go over to their, yeah, oh yeah, Pikachu or Daniel Pikachu, whatever his name is. But but when you go over in these other countries and they post it, but when you can't really do nothing about it here, and the apologists here and over in like England or whatnot just try to sweep it under the rug. But nope, right here, Ibn Kathir, scholar saying this is the case. So it's crazy, but Allah commanded it. Allah knows best. So yep, you can definitely be with a prepubescent girl. Ida, that's crazy. Ida means you
Any
Ida.
doubt about women's status in Islam? Don't forget that men are promised big breasted, eternally virgin houris in paradise. Women, of course, don't get any similar privilege.
For those who know Uncle Luke, Two Live Crew, you probably shouldn't though. If you don't look him up. It's not necessary. That must have been his inspiration must have been Muhammad and what he was talking about. Because everything he just said right there sounded like a Two Live Crew song. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you. But that's what it sounded like.
Enough on sex and sexism. Let's look at violence in the Quran. Muslims are commanded to fight Jews and Christians until they either convert or pay the jizya and
Whoop
feel
that trick.
themselves
It'll whoop
subjugated.
that trick.
In comparison to others, though, that's a privilege. Muslims are commanded to kill the polytheists
Mm,
wherever you find them.
mm.
And why is that justified? Because disbelievers are the worst of all creatures.
Dang. That's crazy.
If that isn't bad enough, a Muslim is permitted to kill a child if it is feared the child will grow up to be a disbeliever. But only if all it makes one do it, of course.
Hold on. And I'm gonna try my best not to stop it too much more after this. I ain't gonna do what's up with these people thinking what's gonna happen? Like, man, don't they know like there's that stat that says like 90 something percent of the things that we worry about won't come true anyway? Or maybe it's like 85% of things that we worry about won't come true. And they over here still like, nah, forget it. My little baby, man, he's playing with a stick and he called it Thor. Spartan kick him down the hole. What? Huh? Just because you thought because oh man, Thor is my favorite superhero. What? No, Allah knows best. You can hit him with the Street Fighter moves. That's crazy. because you think, because you think. That's crazy. That's crazy. Because you think that your baby might be a polytheist. Because you think. He ain't even there yet. He ain't got a chance to grow. He ain't got a chance to grow. You say little baby right there. Be like, man, you know what? He ain't got a beard yet. He don't look like no Muslim yet. It's crazy because you think about it. So if you think your wife's being disobedient, if you think your kid's gonna be a polytheist, you can just go ahead and do what you got to do, whatever you want to do. All right, bet.
Which brings us to some deficiencies of Allah himself. It seems this
Oh, I got you, bro. The link to the video is down in the description, and also his channel's down in the description too. So if you just get that, boom, easy, simple. Go check that out. By the way, for those of you who are not follow Adam, here I am, Lord, send me. Go follow that brother. He just is crazy with the live streams. Crazy with the live streams. Does amazing. Follow that brother. But yeah, the description to this video is down below if you want it, and also the link to his actual page is down below too. Real quick, as we're here and we stopped, and I'm not gonna stop it too much more after this. But since we stopped, Ohio, if you're around the Ohio area, I think you can still get tickets. They're free. They're free. Go to David Wood's page. Go to Reason Answers page. Go to Anthony Rogers' page. Go to Vocab Malone's page, and they're having a conference in Ohio. Free conference. Get some tickets, and it's from Thursday, this upcoming Thursday, all the way through Sunday. And it's a apologetic conference, and they're doing amazing. A bunch of lectures, a bunch of outreaches. Again, brother Thaddeus is going to be there from Reason Answered. Go sign up, get you some tickets if you're from the Ohio area. And also, I'm going to be there so you can rock out with your boys so we can learn together. I'm going to have my pen, I'm going to have my paper. I don't know if they're going to let me bring popcorn, but if they do, it's going to be the caramel kind. I'll rock with the caramel kind. But with that being said, let's get back into it. I ain't going to stop it too much more because, man, we only are a few of them. Like, we ain't even halfway in yet. We ain't even halfway in yet. But everything he's talking about, everything we looked into anyway, is checking out. What's going on, Muslims? What's going on?
sock puppet has a few holes in it. Allah causes some people to obey and others to disobey. He does not grant anyone free will.
What? That's childish.
Allah is not all-loving. Indeed, he does not love the unbelievers, the wrongdoers,
Mm.
the wasteful, transgressors, the treacherous, or the arrogant.
Dang.
This is in spite of the fact that he was the one that caused these actions to begin with.
That's crazy.
Then, Allah just arbitrarily forgives whom he likes and punishes whom he likes. But that's not all. Allah will mercifully place the sins of Muslims on Jews and Christians on Judgment Day, and then presumably punish them accordingly.
Man.
Indeed, human beings have no value in the sight of Allah. Some are created solely so Allah can make them go astray and then destroy them. That sure doesn't sound like a just God to me.
To nobody.
In the Quran, Allah and his angels pray. The angels presumably pray to Allah. But who does he pray to? No one knows. Muslims try to claim the verse means send blessings, which just shifts the problem, making the angels gods.
Good old David Wood, Muhammad Hijab.
Allah calls himself the greatest of all deceivers. An ironically true statement. Allah makes that boast while tricking people into believing Jesus was crucified, thus creating the world's largest religion.
Hey.
But wait, Christians are destined to hell. So doesn't that mean Allah caused billions to go to hell through his deceit?
What a jerk.
Up next are some reasons to doubt that Muhammad's prophethood came from God. The non-sock puppet one, that is. According to Islamic tradition, it all began when Muhammad was hanging out in a cave and had an encounter where he was squeezed by an unknown force until he thought he would die. That seems pretty demonic to me. And Muhammad agreed. His initial impression was that he was possessed by a jinn. Because of this, Muhammad tried to commit suicide. Later, when revelation stopped for a period, he again wanted to commit suicide.
Dang.
Later in his career, Muhammad was the victim of black magic that gave him delusional thoughts. A clear sign he was not protected from evil by God.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Muhammad made several prophecies which have proven false. For example, he predicted the imminent end of the world, saying a young boy then living would not be very old when the last hour came, and elsewhere saying that no one would be living 100 years from then.
But see, it's there's so many I wanted to stop too. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I ain't gonna lie. I said I was gonna stop it for a while, and it was like all of them up until now. I just wanted to stop with and just talk about because so many of them were so just irksome and annoying and crazy that people of the Islamic and half of them really people don't even know, and the other half, people make up these excuses for it. But yeah, when it comes to just the prophecies that it's not in the Quran, because if I'm not mistaken, Muhammad doesn't have any prophecies in the Quran. But the ones that the brother prophesied about outside the Quran, did he get any of them right? Like, was it like even close to something like being right? Like, was it? I don't think so. I don't think so. But again, what I'm saying? So what for the people that are Quran only, what like did Muhammad just not do any miracles to you? How'd that happen? It's like the prophet who's supposed to be like prophets, he didn't. I don't know. I don't know, y'all, but we're at 42, y'all. We're at 42, and the first 42, there's a lot of strong issues that I've seen so many arguments be used against Islam for. So many. Whether it be from Brother Sam Shamoon, Brother Guy Logic, obviously Brother Reason Answered, David Wood, Anthony Rogers, a host of who's who. Here I am, Lord, send me. I'm sure he's done that a few times. Adam, shout out to him. And it's like, man, but yet people still rock with this. People still rock with this. And it's like, bruh, are you okay? Like, do you need a hug? I just want to go up to every Muslim and just be like, come here, just give me a hug because you need it. You need something because if you rocking with this, bruh, that's crazy. That man, just know Jesus loves you. Just know Jesus loves you. And you still got time to come to know the truth.
And what about the odd death of Muhammad? In the Quran, Allah says that if Muhammad was giving false revelations, he would die by having his aorta cut.
Mm.
Then, as he was dying, Muhammad exclaimed, "I feel as if my aorta is being cut." Kind of sounds like a deathbed confession to me. Muhammad stated that bells are the instruments of the devil. He also stated that his revelation came with the sound of a bell. Another admission of his own fraudulent claims, perhaps?
Man, he gets snitching on himself like crazy.
Speaking of Satan, at one point Muhammad revealed verses supporting polytheism. He later claimed that he'd been tricked by Satan into doing so. Conveniently, this story, now known as the Satanic Verses, has been whitewashed from many later Muslim histories. Which brings us to the next set of reasons that Islam is false. Historical problems with the formation of Islam. In Islam, the deeper one dives, the shakier the history gets.
Mm.
The Satanic Verses incident is found in numerous texts, making it hard to deny historically. But attempts to wipe it from Islamic history reflect a common pattern. The earliest biographies of Muhammad have been lost. The earliest one extant to significant amount is that of Ibn Ishaq, more than 100 years after the time of Muhammad. His work is preserved by Ibn Hassam, who edited it down and removed some of the controversial parts.
Mm.
This is not itself all that problematic. What is problematic is the work paints a very different, much more violent picture of Muhammad than Islam today claims.
Typical.
Muslims now reject Ibn Ishaq and instead rely on hadith collections, which were compiled 200 or more years after Muhammad died. Historically speaking, this is a huge problem, as the earliest sources are rejected in favor of later ones, which have had much more time to be sanitized.
Get that up out of here. We seen that
Muslim
was
works aren't the only source of information, however, and several non-Muslim texts describing Muhammad predate the earliest Islamic texts. These paint another picture of Muhammad, seeing him as a combination of military leader and claimed prophet of Christianity, but never as the founder of a new religion. Then there is the Quran itself.
Trash.
It paints a picture of an end times prophet who thought the world was about to end. Furthermore, the prophet seems to think he was sent only to the Arabs, not to all of humanity.
Selfish.
That's 4 sources of possible information about Muhammad and 4 different pictures painted, none of which match modern Muslim claims about Muhammad. What should we believe? The lack of extant trusted sources, other than the Quran, for Islam's first 200 years, combined with the differing pictures of Muhammad, is highly suspicious. It sure looks like legendary development, or even outright whitewashing and deception, occurred. Islam, as we know, requires the Hadith to be 100% true. But historically, that is simply not plausible.
We have 50,
Speaking
y'all
of
halfway.
whitewashed history, what's the deal with Mecca? Islamic tradition says it's the oldest city in the world, that it was a great trade capital before Muhammad's time. However, there's no concrete evidence, physical or documentary, that it even existed before the 7th century. Every mosque is supposed to point to Mecca, but when we look at the earliest ones, they seem to point instead to Petra. Mecca is mentioned only once in the Quran by name. The geography described is compatible with an Islamic origin in either Petra or in Yemen, but definitely not compatible with the present-day location of Mecca. Then there's the Quran itself. The Quran is supposed to be the eternal word of Allah, in existence from before the foundation of the earth, giving guidance to all people in all ages. Yet, when we take a close look, it appears it was written in the 7th century for 7th century people. For example, it repeatedly says, "Remember such and such," and then gives minimal details, or no details at all. It seems to expect the audience to already know the story. Which makes perfect sense, given that the evidence of the author or authors of the Quran were in fact repeating well-known stories,
Heck yeah, they
not
were.
personal revelation.
Nope. Stole
The
it from every
Quran
gang.
itself contains the accusation that Muhammad was merely copying tales of the ancients several times. Likewise, Surah 16:103 contains an accusation that Muhammad has a human teacher and then gives the ridiculous defense that the teacher is of a foreign tongue. Apparently, the eternal word of Allah knew the specific person who people were going to say Muhammad was getting information from, and had this defense ready for all of eternity.
Well, of course.
But the defense is idiotic. Human language can be translated. Furthermore, the defense states the Quran is pure Arabic, when in fact it contains many foreign loanwords. Modern
Speaking of pure Arabic, one of the most ridiculous, ridiculous points that Muslims love to say is, oh, Jesus didn't speak Greek. Jesus ain't speak no type of Greek. No, he spoke Aramaic. He was a Jewish man. He spoke Aramaic and Hebrew and whatnot. What's he speaking in the Quran? Because if I'm not mistaken, he's quoted in the Quran. How is he quoted speaking Arabic? What's going on here? But yet, they'd be like, nah, that's Allah. It's Allah saying it, or, whatever the case, because of the Quran. Dumbest argument in the world. I love how all the arguments that they use, or they try to use anyway, they can't hold up to their own standards in any regard at all. At all. But they still try to use it like we don't know. Like we don't have the internet nowadays, which is crazy. Especially like that perfect preservation argument. Oh, I love that one so very much because so many people still hold on to that so tight that they would much rather, when you present them the truth, run away from it. Run away from the truth. I had a fella not too long ago, and I think I said this one of my reactions, but hey, it is what it is. And shout out to Brother Jai and DLC. I brought up their argument when it comes to the Al-Bazi recitation. And the reason why I like this one so much is because, I mean, I have all the ones with like the Warsh and Al-Duri and stuff like that, with the Abjeptus, Abjeptas. I got all that. But the one I like that one so very much is because they also have the link that they was giving out to the actual Muslim sheikh that quotes it being a contradiction. I love that so very much because now, not only is it just like because a lot of times people can fall back on the Arabic and say, "Oh, well, you don't speak Arabic, so you don't know." But then we got the Arabic speaker saying that, yeah, it's a contradiction. Oh, it's so beautiful. But then you show people this, and I showed a fella this going back and forth on the comments one day, and he looked it up, and then I sent him to the video, and then after that, all his comments got deleted. Like, how'd that happen? He ain't want to come to the truth. I can tell you that, because if he'd have came to the truth, he probably would have continued the conversation. Like, man, I might have been wrong. Yada yada. Man, I have to look into this, but nope, just gone. People would much rather run from the truth. Matter of fact, today I was just on live, which is crazy. This is what Muslims have to do. Muslims have to do this. I was on live. I wasn't on live. I was watching live. Excuse me. And it was brother guy Logic, brother Avery. He was on live, and he was breaking down Isaiah 53, and he was saying that in the live because he was talking with this Muslim dude. He was saying that in Isaiah 53 that the Muslim dude was like, "Man, Jesus didn't die, or the Messiah wasn't supposed to die." And then like he got broken down the words. He got broken down the words and the entirety of the passage. And he still came to the conclusion in his mind, because he's already been, brainwashed by, what it is that they're teaching people in Muslim, that in Isaiah 53, that the Messiah doesn't die. Or any of the prophecies when it comes to Jesus dying. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen, even though the words clearly state that. But that's what they have to do. They have to be that dishonest with their text and that dishonest with any text that goes against what it is that they believe. But anywho, let's get back into the video because we got to finish this out, y'all. We got to finish it out.
Muslims will say the accusation of copying is false, that the Quran was correcting corrupted copies of previous revelation. Note first that the Quran itself contains no such claim. It merely asserts the accusers are wrong in most places, or as we saw, makes lame, invalid defenses.
Lame.
It seems Muslims know better than their God, but it gets worse. The Quran actually copies very little from the Bible, but instead copies from Midrash, Jewish commentaries on the scripture.
Horrible.
And that's not all it copies. It also copies later legends such as the Seven Sleepers that were never considered scripture by anyone. It even borrows a pagan tale of Alexander the Great, named Dhul-Qarnayn in the Quran, where he travels to the ends of the earth and passes it off as fact. Which brings us to the many historical and scientific errors of the Quran. Remember, the Quran is supposed to be the literal speech of God, so it should be error-free.
You would think.
Instead, we find very little that's accurate.
What is in the Quran?
In the aforementioned tale of Dhul-Qarnayn, the hero travels so far west that he comes to the place where the sun sets. What does he find? The sun sets in a muddy pool of water.
It does. Islam would say.
Then he travels so far east that he comes to the place where the sun rises, and he finds a people without protection from the intense light. These descriptions only make sense if the earth is flat and the sun is much smaller than the earth. Speaking of a flat earth, the Quran states or implies just that many times. The sky, meanwhile, is apparently a solid object that will fall on the people if Allah doesn't hold it up. This conception of the sky is supported by reference to invisible pillars. Likewise, the perfectly clear Quran strongly implies geocentrism. Stars are then tiny objects in the lowest heaven.
Makes sense.
Allah uses these stars as defensive missiles against jinn trying to sneak into heaven.
Makes sense.
When you see a shooting star, which is of course not actually a star, this is proof of the Quranic claim, at least according to its best interpreter, Muhammad. The Quran falsely claims sperm comes from between the backbone and the ribs.
You already know that? That's typical.
It claims human beings begin as a drop of blood.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It claims all living things come in gendered pairs, having no knowledge of asexual reproduction.
Of course they do.
All animals live in communities, according to Allah, but sadly, that one's false as well. Allah confuses Mary, the sister of Aaron and Moses, and Mary, the mother of Jesus, two women who lived more than 1,000 years apart.
1,000, y'all. Just to let y'all know, this was one of the first ones. One of the first ones that I learned about the Quran, about how ridiculous they are with how they get things wrong. Loved it too. Loved it too. But they got the response that they like to say. They say, "Oh well, that's just them talking about their lineage. That's the lineage they're talking about. They're not actually talking about that." But you say, "Well, where is that ever anywhere else in the Quran?" And they're like, "Ooh," because they talk about different passages with family, and never do they talk about it like that. And it's crazy that again, like how this brother said, the Quran is supposed to be explained and fully detailed. Well, at least in 6 verses it says that, even though the one verse says that some of it's explained, some of it's not. That's a whole nother thing. But it's supposed to be explained in this manner, but yet this ain't explained. So where it actually calls one of Muhammad's people to be like, "Hey yo, why is this when this wasn't the case?" And then Muhammad had to think about it and be like, "Well, that's just how they spoke back then." But I think if you actually do a study on it, I don't think that's how they spoke back then. I don't think it is. I haven't looked into it in a long time because it's been a long time since I actually like paid attention to that particular argument. But yeah, I'm pretty sure when I was looking into it that that's not really how they talked about people back then. They would have said, daughter of or son of, um, not sister or brother of. You know what I'm saying? But hey, Allah knows best. Allah knows best.
Speaking of Mary, Allah seems to think Christians take her as part of the Trinity, and never once condemns the actual belief of the Christian Trinity. The Quran also claims Jesus prophesied the coming of Ahmed by name, but there is no evidence of that.
None. Zero. Zilch.
The Quran claims Jews take Ezra as the son of God in the same sense Christians take Jesus as the son.
Oh yeah, where did this come from? Like, bruh, that's like nowhere ever that anybody has ever said that. Like, and and this is one of the ones that I ask people like like when the Muslims jump on the comments, and instead of like addressing anything that has to do with their video that that they're on and watching, I'll just ask them these random questions like this, like, bruh, why does the Quran say this when nowhere in history has ever that been the case? And silence. Muslims love to jump to everything else but defending their stuff, which is crazy. The video will be about contradictions in the Quran, and they'll say, "Well, Jesus used the bathroom." What? Why are you bringing that up? So then I hit them with the, well, why in the Quran is Ezra the son of God, and no Jew has ever believed that ever a day in their life. And oh no, Allah knows best. Every trip, bro. That's a good. That is a good understanding right there. I wish I could go about my life just saying that. Well, Allah knows best. hmm Man, how'd you fail your test? Allah knows best. Man, why were you speeding? Allah knows best. Let's just go. Just throw it in for everything, and it'd be all right. It'd be all right. I already got the beard, so I can probably pass. You know what I'm saying? Allah knows best, and just they'll let me go.
Of God. But there's no solid evidence that anyone ever did that, let alone large groups of Jews. Allah also claims John the Baptist was the first person given that name, even though we know of many Johns before him. And what about the massive iron wall of Dhul Qarnayn? It's supposed to exist until the Day of Judgment, yet it's nowhere to be found. There are many more
It's in the
scientific and
mind.
historic errors in the
In
Quran,
the mind.
but I think that's enough. Let's move on to internal contradictions. Muslims will, of course, try to find ways to resolve these. But remember, the Quran supposedly has only one author, God himself, who is perfectly clear and explains himself in detail.
Except in
So
3:1
elaborate explanations shouldn't be
or
needed
3:7.
to explain Allah's differing claims.
Except in 3:7.
Where is Allah? The Quran gives multiple answers, and even Muslim scholars
Everywhere
have
and
been
nowhere.
unable to solve the mystery, disagreeing strongly among themselves. Does Allah lead people astray or not? Does Allah forgive all sins, or are some too grave for forgiveness?
Man, that's a good question.
Can people bear the burdens of others, or only their own sins?
Well, depends on who you ask.
How many days of creation were there? 6 or 8? Or maybe it was just an instant.
How many fingers you got? Are you
What
counting
was
right?
man created from? The Quran gives no less than 6 different answers.
6 of them. Dang. All
Who
right.
was the first Muslim? Muhammad, Moses, Abraham, or maybe it was a group of Egyptians?
It was all of them. Every last one of them. Because they're all one. Inshallah. Allah, la, 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 la. Durka, Durka, Muhammad
Is
Jihadi.
alcohol permitted or forbidden?
What's that from? Team
That last
America?
one,
Yeah,
and
Team
some
America.
other contradictions on moral teaching, are solved by abrogation. The idea that Allah changed his commands over time sounds reasonable at first, at least if you imagine Allah slowly bringing along 7th century people. But then you remember that this is supposedly his eternal speech, given multiple times to multiple different people groups, and the claim makes no sense at all. Which brings us to our last category: internal incoherence and logical errors of the Quran and
Ain't no way.
Islamic beliefs.
There's
That's right,
none
one
at
need
all.
look no further than the Quran's own claims about itself for any rational person to say, I'm smarter than this Allah fella, but I'm no God, so he ain't neither.
Did he just turn blue? Y'all seen that, right?
Speaking of abrogation, most Muslims don't realize it, but Hadith can, and often do, abrogate the Quran.
What?
That's right, Muhammad's words can overrule Allah's eternal word. But doesn't that make Muhammad a god? Even though the Quran asserts he's only a warner over and over again? Other times, Muslims simply forgot large portions of the Quran. But don't worry, that just means those verses were abrogated too.
Heck yeah. Bro, my boy, bro, Winston, man. Where you at, Winston? Oh, he's probably asleep. I think he's over on the other side of the country. He's usually up in the morning. But brother Winston always puts in the comments, yo, every trip, every time, these Muslims get out of hand, he's like, why is your eternal word? Because they talk about corruption. They talk about corruption. They talk about things being added, subtract, whatever the case, about the Bible. But then we got multiple hadiths where it's like, but so and so forgot it. Oh, so and so go ate my homework. So that all these different things. All these different things of this eternal word that's like not here no more. That people are forgetting. Goats are eating. It's crazy. How powerful of a goat do you got to be to take the eternal word of Allah and get it down your into your stomach and then run it out? This is like when David Wood, man, actually lightweight David Wood, him and that goat, they had the same mind because it wasn't too long ago David Wood ate the Quran. He ate that bad boy, and I'm pretty sure it came out, just the same way that it went in. Get it? Because it went because it's crap. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Indeed, even a tame sheep can abrogate verses when it eats the only copy of the text in question. The Quran repeatedly states,
Hold on. What's up, Hebrew world? No. Who debunked it? Or wait, what's it say? Bro, you seen the video of Muslim debunking? Who's the person that debunked it? I want to know. I want to know because I got to see what they say. I got to see what they say now. There's a Muslim out there that just was it recently? What's going on here? Let your boy know. Let your boy know. But anyway, let's get back into it.
or implies it is confirming the Torah and Gospels, and that if people were following them, they would follow Muhammad too. But even Muslims will agree the Bible and the Quran teach very different things, but that makes the Quran's claims false.
Ain't no way. Hold on. There's about to be more. Hold on. Let's go look at that real quick. Let's go. How many times do these Muslims got to say that they God is wrong? How many times do they got to say Allah's eternal word doesn't say what it says? How many times? How do you guys say, you know what? Forget what Allah done said. Forget that. I'm gonna rock with Muhammad Hijab. I'm gonna rock with Ali Dawa. I'm gonna rock with Daniel Pikachu or Adnan Rashid or Fareed, other dude that is going crazy right now with DLC and they're challenging them, Daughter of Christ and Jai's challenging him. I don't know his name, like Fareed something. Muslim Cowboy or Issa all these people. How many times you gonna listen to them and say, you know what, forget what Allah's saying. Allah doesn't say nothing about no corruption in the gospel, but they talking about corruption. That's crazy. Saif. Oh, dang. I'm gonna have to check that out then. Safe. Oh, that dude, he's special. He real special. He don't come too far from the Muhammad tree. I know that. So I know that's probably gonna be a hilarious video. Yeah. Yeah, that brother ooh, he's a good one. So yeah, I definitely gotta check that out. Definitely gotta check that out. Oh, and I can't wait because I know David Woods probably tore that boy up. I know it. I know it.
Quran teach very different things, but that makes the Quran's claims false. To avoid this, Muslims claim that the Bible has been corrupted. This defies the historic evidence and also means they are supposedly smarter than the God who never once mentions said corruption explicitly. Similarly, the Quran states several times that Muhammad is found in the Jewish and Christian scriptures. Sadly, the Quran doesn't cite any specifics, so Muslims are left to guess where Muhammad is mentioned, and they haven't been able to come up with anything remotely convincing. Muslims believe Jesus was a Muslim prophet who attracted many Muslim followers. In the Quran, Allah promises that the true followers of Jesus will be superior over the unbelievers and
Hey.
remain that way until Judgment Day. However, the only followers of Jesus that have ever been superior in power or numbers are Christians. And Christians are definitely not Muslims. So
Mm-mm.
either the Quran is wrong about who will become uppermost, or it is wrong about Jesus' followers being Muslims.
Da-na-na. 94.
Indeed,
Good year.
there's no evidence that Jesus ever had a single Muslim follower. Which brings us to the next problem. The Quran claims it sent a messenger to every nation. Yet 100% of the prophets before Muhammad that it knows about, unless we consider Alexander the Great a prophet, were sent to Israel. Furthermore, the verse says some in every nation are rightly guided by Allah. Yet, strangely, there's zero historic evidence of any messenger or any Muslim follower for any of the hundreds of nations that existed before Muhammad's time.
Bruh. Bruh, this is one thing y'all gotta understand. This is one thing y'all gotta understand. My Muslim brothers understand this and sisters, Muslims. Well, they kinda understand it. They don't fully get it because they half brain. They kinda understand it. It don't matter if it's science, if it goes against math, if it goes against logic, if it goes against anything. Allah knows best. All right? Simple. Simple. A Muslim, if Muhammad wrote down 2 plus 2 equals 57, well, by golly, Allah knows best. It's 57 that day. If he wrote in the Quran, it's 57 eternally, but not necessarily because it has a deeper meaning to it. In the Arabic, that 57 doesn't really mean that 57. It actually means a different number. That's still not the right answer. But nonetheless, the Arabic, y'all got to understand that. Allah knows best. So remember that. Science, math, history don't matter. Allah knows best. The secret Arabic that apparently even Arabic speakers don't even know, and all that other stuff. If y'all don't get that, y'all tripping. Y'all got to get that. Y'all be able to follow a lot better if you get that understanding.
The Quran's primary proof of its own inspiration is the Surah Like It challenge. Unbelievers are challenged to produce something like the Quran. Supposedly, when they realize they can't do it, they'll be impressed and know the Quran is from God. There are many problems with this, starting with the fact the author of the Quran can't make up his mind on how many like surahs are required. Is it 1 surah, 10 surahs, or a whole book?
Read in Arabic, it'll tell you.
Then there's the problem that no clear criteria are given. Indeed, even Muslim scholars disagree about whether the challenge refers to the supposed beauty of the rhetoric or unparalleled teaching. In Muhammad's day, multiple people claimed to meet or exceed the challenge, saying their own poetry was better. Satan apparently tricked Muhammad himself into thinking his words were the Quran in the Satanic Verses incident. Modern challengers likewise have sometimes fooled many Muslims. In contrast, I have never heard of a single person converted to Islam by the challenge. But most importantly, the challenge is simply invalid from the start. Even if the Quran is completely unique, that wouldn't make it from God. For such a claim to be true, every unique thing would have to come directly from God, which I don't think anyone would agree with. Then there's the Quran's other challenge. Then do they not reflect upon the Quran? If it had been from other than Allah, they would have found within it much contradiction. You do have to admire the confidence of Allah, leaving himself the
Do I?
escape hatch of much.
Because Allah knows best.
Even ignoring that, Allah goofed up big time. Muslims tend to read the verse as if it said, if this contains much error, it is not from God. That statement would be all right, but it can only invalidate, not validate, the Quran, i.e., it is a negative challenge. That wasn't good enough for Allah, so he proposed a positive challenge instead. The problem is, it only works if it is always true that something without much error comes from God.
Dang.
That is obviously not true,
Facts.
meaning the verse itself is an error of logic.
I mean, we're here.
And the challenge is dead before it even begins.
Hold on.
Ouch.
Time out.
So there
Time out.
i.e., it is a negative challenge.
Let's go ahead on. Let's hear that one more time because it sounds like
if it had been from other than Allah.
It sounds like this brother was talking too much like right. Sounds like he was talking a little bit too much like right. But again, Allah knows best. But yeah, logical. The logic of so basically, if it okay, hold on. Let's just hear what he had to say one more time. Let's just hear what he had to say, and then
they would have
we'll
found within it much contradiction.
Much contradiction.
You do have to admire the confidence of Allah, leaving himself the escape hatch of much.
Get that 100. There we go. All right.
Even ignoring that, Allah goofed up big time.
How so?
Muslims tend to read the verse as if it said, if this contains much error, it is not from God. That statement would be all right, but it can only invalidate, not validate, the Quran, i.e., it is a negative challenge. That wasn't good enough for Allah, so he proposed a positive challenge instead. The problem is, it only works if it is always true that something without much error comes from God. That is obviously not true, meaning the verse itself is an error of logic, and the challenge is dead before it even begins. Ouch. So there you have it, 100 reasons why Islam is false. I could go on, and I certainly left many things off the list, but I think that should be more than enough for any rational person to see Islam cannot possibly be true. So, what's it going to be, Muslims? Are you going to be rational adults and leave childish things behind? Or are you going to cling to the religion of your youth, like Aisha clung to her dolls as the Prophet brought her into his house so that he could have sex with her?
Yikes.
Thanks for watching.
Reason answers Thaddeus, y'all. Thaddeus broke it down 100 reasons why Islam is false. And if you're a Muslim listening, I get it. I understand. Answer all of them. I'm gonna help you out. But you already know this. I'm gonna answer all of them like this. Allah knows best. He didn't read in the Arabic. And Durka Durka Muhammad Jihad. If you use those 3 responses right there, Team America. Oh wait, no, that was either from Team America or South Park. One of the two. One of the two. I think it was Team America. Not a good movie to watch. If you haven't seen it, don't watch it. Or watch it my bad days. So, yeah, Allah knows best. It wasn't in the Arabic. Durka Durka Muhammad Jihad. You use those, you can say that nope, all these 100 are wrong. But now apparently, you guys got a brother named Saif who responded and answered these objections. So I can't wait to see what he had to say because that brother's special. But I also can't wait to see. Let me chat. Should I watch his first, or should I just watch the review that I think they all said David Wood and Thaddeus did on this? Should I watch that first, or should I just watch his and then watch that? Which one? Which one would be the best? Or should I not watch? Should I react to it? Should I do that? I don't know, cause I got hilarious movie, not a good movie though. Man, I think cause I got all week, y'all. I got all week. Y'all gonna see me multiple times this week reacting, so lives and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know. Hmm, I don't know. I might react to Sice. I might react to it. Ultimately, I'm going to watch David Wood and them because I know it's gonna be hilarious. Whichever I choose, it's whatever. We'll have a good time either way. Either way, how we want to go about it. 3 hours. Oh, it must have been alive. Well, yeah, if they were reacting, of course it's gonna be live, and of course they're gonna make jokes, and of course 3 hours. I mean, I'm still gonna watch it because support. You know what I'm saying? Watch Cypher. Okay, y'all talk me into it. Tomorrow, probably around the same time, depending on if Brother God Logic goes live. I ain't gonna jump on when he's on. Oh, I might do it during lunchtime though. I might do it during lunchtime. Ooh. Y'all be awake at lunchtime? Y'all gonna be awake? I think that is the Cypher only responded to like 7, not the 400. 7? How you gonna do response and only do 7? That's crazy. That's lazy. That's lazy. Just go on live and do this. Get to all 100. All right, whatever. But yeah, it's either gonna be tomorrow or after God Logic stream. Because one thing I don't want to do is stream when God Logic streaming because I'm also about to get off of here because for those easy work, that's what I'm gonna do. It's either gonna be lunchtime tomorrow, so 11:30 to 12 something Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, or after God Logic stream if he streams tomorrow because I think he's been out of town, so I don't know if he's been streaming lately. But uh, why not both? I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna do both. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do probably tomorrow around those times. And then so yeah, for those who are watching this, as soon as I leave, as soon as I get up out of here, y'all need to head over to Radar Apologetics because he's about to go live talking about Jesus. Talking about Jesus. Great live streams. Love that brother's live streams. He's my favorite person's live stream to watch. Like I'm so upset that I can't DJ and that I got the soundboard that I barely even touch or use and I ain't got no music like that. I'm upset. I need to upgrade. But I love watching his lives because it's so good and he's so informative and he does nothing but go into the scriptures. He's able to go into the Hebrew scriptures and read the Hebrew and break it down and get that good understanding of what a rabbi should know. So that's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing, but y'all need to go check that out as soon as I get up out of here. Radar Apologetics. If you're not following that brother, go follow that brother. Also, bro, so be it did. So be it. Who? Bro, so be it did a video on Radar Apologetics. Who's that? Who so be it? I don't know. But speaking of people, I'm gonna put this brother on blast real quick. So there's a point in time with this brother right here, Hebrew World. Uh, he was, doing reactions and whatnot, and we've been rocking with each other for a long time now. Well, not a long time, probably about like a little under a year, maybe. I don't know, but he's supposed to come give his testimony. He has absolutely no reason why he can't come give his testimony now. He done got things to where he's on StreamYard now. So I'm letting you know right now, the public call out is here. When you gonna come share that testimony? When you gonna come on here and give your testimony? Should be anytime this week or anytime in the near future. But Hebrew World, go ahead on and jump on this. Of course I am. I'm gonna put you on blast. Yes, I'm gonna put you on blast. I'm gonna let everybody know because we need testimonies on here. I love reactions. I love learning, but I also love hearing people's testimonies, what God has done in their lives. I tell you what, to this day, uh, before Mikey came on and shared, Mikey Leal, who's also on a couple days ago, before he came on and shared his testimony, like I rocked with him and I knew who he was and I like enjoyed his apologetics approach. But after that, man, that's been my brother since, and been able to talk to him and grow with him, and man, I love that dude. Everybody who's been able to come on and share their testimony has been nothing but a blessing, nothing but a blessing. And so we gonna need that up off you, Hebrew world. We're gonna need that. We gonna need that. So, but with that being said, God bless you guys for pulling up. For those who are still trying to be on stream or still have the ability to be on stream, head over to Radar Apologetics and go check that out. Go check out his stream. sub, all that fun stuff if you're not following him. That being said, we're about to get out of here. Um, we're gonna end off in a prayer today. We're gonna end off in a prayer today and enjoy the rest of our evening, and then we'll see you again tomorrow. So again, I'll probably be oh, that's bright back there. Ah, there we go. So yeah, see you guys tomorrow either at lunchtime or hey Cheryl, either at lunchtime, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or we're gonna come late. We're gonna come late after a guy allowed to stream if he streams. If he streams, if not, we probably well, yeah, just shoot for lunchtime. Let me just shoot for lunchtime. No, it don't matter. Y'all see when it pop up, and then you can either choose to jump in or not. But hey, it is what it is. Uh, love you too, brother John. Does anybody real quick before I pray? Does anybody have anything that they would like to have prayer for before we get out of here? God bless you, Una. God bless you, Only Love. Appreciate you, John, brother Hebrew World, sister Marion, hilarious. Tell you what, she is funny as all get out. She needs to get herself a channel. I would love to hear what she has to say. Jeremy, God bless you, brother. Appreciate you pulling up. Only Love, always. I think I already said that, but yeah. Carol B, my my favorite. I, all you guys are my favorites because you guys pull up like every trip, every trip. And Marcos, God bless you. Another person who's been slacking, but we gonna get him on here. You know, life happens. Also, if you see Black Doctor anywhere, if you see him anywhere on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, let him know he's been ducking me. He's been ducking me. He's been supposed to come on here and share his testimony, but he hasn't. Your testimony, bro, ain't no boring testimony. Ain't no boring. Anytime that the Lord works in somebody's life, that's a blessing. That is a blessing. So we don't want to hear it. But with that being said, if you guys would like to join me in prayer, and we'll get up out of here. And again, go to Radar Apologetics right after this. Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to come to you and again just thank you for opportunity to be able to come to you. Thank you for opportunity to be able to talk and learn and grow and receive the gifts that you have for us, Lord, and that you humbled yourself to come down and die on the cross for us, Lord, giving us grace, though we don't deserve it, Lord. That shows the love that you have for us, for your creation. It's not the love of, the Islamic God. It's not the love of any of these other deities, Lord, but the true love of sacrifice, the ultimate love that you came down for us. I thank you for the people in the chat today, Lord, that are seeking knowledge, that are seeking love, that are seeking relationship with you, God, and that are doing what they can to help others, whether it be in the comments or whether it be in their daily lives, just being able to share the gospel, being able to share the truth, being able to share the love of what you're doing in their lives, God. I thank you for the services that were held today, Lord, the preaching that was going on around the world, around the globe, uh, um, any day, Lord, whether it been Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, whenever. Just the fact that there's so many people out there that are doing what they can to share the gospel, that are trying to bring disciples into the house of God, Lord, trying to water as many plants, or excuse me, or plant as many seeds as possible, Lord, for you to water and allow them to grow, God. I thank you for everything that you allow me to do. I thank you for this ministry. I thank you for the brothers and sisters that are also on social media doing their thing to be able to express what it means to be a follower of God and express what it means to have true life. And that true life is through you, God. I thank you and I praise you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I pray. Amen. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good, wonderful night. And I'll see y'all in the comments at Radar Apologetics. God bless. Your boy is out.